Anything like that? Interesting. Ergo. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore, I am. And I think I could even do it, right? Two-handed. Almost did it. There we go. That's holding a baby, too. Hi, this is Jeff from Raising Baby Bees. Today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of travel strollers, the two top ones on the market. We've got the Uppababy Minu V3 on my right. And then over here, we have the Ergobaby Metro 3. And we're going to take a look at them and see how they compare and stack up against each other. And so the reason we're going to take a look at these is that, there are obviously some differences and similarities. We just want to take a look at those, compare, and see which one is going to be the best fit for us and maybe even for you. One of the differences, starting with the handlebars, obviously, is that, with the Ergobaby, right, you can adjust its height, right? So taller, shorter. Right? I'm 6 foot tall. My wife is not, right? And so there's quite a bit of height discrepancy there between the two of us, right? So obviously with this one, right, we have some options here, a little bit of play just to make it a little more comfortable. Doesn't mean she can't use it, obviously, at the highest level, that I can't use it at the lowest level, but just where it's going to be comfortable for us, right? With this, right, what it is what it is. It's a little bit lower overall from the highest height to this, but right, it's still comfortable. All right, so obviously both these are going to have the little peekaboo windows. They do operate a little differently in how they open. Right? They do have both of them magnets to keep it closed. Right now, it's very simple with the Uppababy. To put it away, really, it's just a roll up, right, little strap, and then you can push it away. Right, no problem at all. It just takes a second, right? And then with the Ergobaby, a nice feature about this is, right, it's magnets here, obviously on the bottom. There's a magnet in the middle, so you can kind of open up just a little bit, or you can go all the way up to the top, right? And there's another magnet, right, that'll help it keep closed all the way, right? So that when you're doing it, right, you can just keep it open and you don't have to do the strap up or anything like that. So like basically any travel store, right, you're going to have extendable canopies, right? You have the normal extension, pretty similar, right? It's not like one goes out further. And obviously both have the zipper release. You get the full extension here. And I'll turn them sideways so you can see that side by side. So you can see, right, you do have it. I wouldn't say that one of them in particular is further down or anything like that. I think both are going to do the job they want, which is, right, kind of keep that sun off a little bit more, especially if baby's taking a nap, something like that, they should take a walk. All right, now let's take a look at the two of them, and we'll see seat back height and width on them, right? So here on the Uppababy, right, just a little over 21 inches there, right? Looks like right at 21. And then if we take a look at the width, basically 12 inches, about a foot wide. Right? And then on the Ergobaby, just a little bit shorter, so right at 20 inches in height. But the same width, right at a foot, 12 inches.
One thing worth noting is the padding in the seats. Here on the Metro 3, the padding is incredibly plush, thick, and soft. We're very impressed with this one. On the Minu V3, while the padding is soft, it's much less plush and thick than the Metro 3. Overall, we prefer the padding on the Metro 3.
All right, so both of these obviously do have a recline feature, right, to try and accommodate a newborn. So let's illustrate that for you quick. So first here on the Uppababy, right, just a little handle here on the back. You just pull back, right, and it comes down. And then here on the Ergo, right, it does go back. It does go a little bit further on the Ergo, and there's another feature also that we'll show you related to that. All right, so obviously both these for that newborn stage do have a feature to help accommodate that. With the Uppababy, there's a little bag underneath, kind of tucked underneath, and you pull it out, right? It's just a little cover, basically. And it comes up and over. And then what you do is just simply snap it in on the left and right? It just helps to kind of keep them inside, right? Covers their feet, everything like that. All right, now in the Ergobaby, obviously a similar feature, although I would argue it's a little bit more robust in what it's doing, right? So this all pops out here out of this little zipper pocket, right? And then you pull it up, and it has snaps, but it also has Velcro, which is nice, so you can kind of just get it started, and then you can always do the snaps afterwards. You just go like this, right? And it turns it more into that bassinet style stroller at that point. Yeah, and some people had asked us, when looking at these and asking for questions, is one of them reclined more than the other? And I would say in this situation, absolutely. So the Ergobaby definitely does recline a little bit further back than what the Uppababy does. All right, so one quick feature on the Ergobaby, right? It does have this removable, right, magnetic, right, shade, so you can get a little extra airflow through. It's a feature, obviously, the Uppababy does not have, but this one does have it. Just two little magnets, hold it up. It's very simple to take down. Right, some parents may wonder also how high up does each seat go. Looking at it from my angle here, it does seem that the Ergobaby does come more a little bit to an upright position for that baby that maybe wants to look around and see what's going on around them, and especially the older kids who aren't going to be too far reclined. So probably just a little bit more upright on this one. That's obviously a common question might be, underneath storage, how does that look? So just, average kind of diaper bag. So the Uppababy has a weight capacity of 20 pounds underneath. The Ergobaby is 22 pounds. So let's just see front and back, access and ease to get a bag this size to put in. All right, so putting it in the back here. So pretty simple here on the Uppababy. Not too much of a struggle. This bag obviously is not super heavy loaded. You don't weigh about 10 pounds, but like I said, it's very common. You might have a 20-pound bag. Then we'll go over here to the Ergobabies. So I'm going to notice right away, right, a little bit different design, obviously. So the Ergobaby is going to have this lower bar, and it's going to affect maybe the ease, but let's see. So actually, it went in maybe a little bit easier than I expected it would. You do have a little bit of flexibility on this flap down here. I think that allowed for that, but overall, both of them, at least from the back, pretty simple to get them in. All right, now we'll put them in the front. We'll see. We'll start with the Uppababy. So very simple, goes in like that, right? In and out. And then the Ergobaby. So I would say probably a little bit simpler, both front and back with the Uppababy. Ergobaby just a little bit more compact in the space, but like I said, it does actually have higher weight capacity, even though maybe a little bit, more of a challenge getting in or out. It's still not difficult by any means.
It was a beautiful spring day out, so we decided to do a little testing on our local bike trail. While these aren't all-terrain strollers, they both seemed to do fine on asphalt. They weren't loud or bumpy. However, the Metro 3 did seem slightly more steady, so we'll give it that. Overall, both were impressive for lightweight travel strollers.
All right, and then finally, one other difference that obviously there is in the braking system and then how to unbrake it. So with the Uppababy, it's very simple. They have red for stop, green for go, right? Very simply, stop, go. I would say in this category, it definitely wins. The Ergobaby works. I wouldn't say it is flip-flop or sandal friendly though, because you can push it down, right? Very simple. Then you do have to get your foot underneath it to pop it back up. So if you're wearing like toeless shoes, might not be the best option in that regard. All right, and then just for the closing once again, so obviously, right, with the Uppababy, it's you push left or right with your thumb, and then you pull in on the button, right? So I'll illustrate that here for you. And then it's a forward motion down, right? And it does lock into place. Then the Ergobaby, right? Button in, button up, thumb, handle, forward, lock. So pretty straightforward, and then you just reverse the process to bring it back up again. And arguably, I don't necessarily know if I think there's too much of a difference between the two. Maybe slightly easier with the two buttons versus having to slide to the left or to the right. Although I do feel like maybe just a little smoother on the opening and closing for the Uppababy. And then one other consideration just to make, obviously, if you do a lot of airline travel, is that the Uppababy Minu V3 is IATA compatible, meaning it will fit well into an overhead storage compartment on an airplane. Right? So it is something to take in mind if you do a lot of storage or travel, I should say, on airlines. One of the features I want to show, obviously, once they are in their folded position, just being able to carry them around, right? So the Ergobaby, right, handle, right, very simply placed, right? Goes like this. I do like this feature about the Uppababy, right? It's a handle, but it does extend out, right? So you can, right, use it, right, and kind of free up both hands a little bit. You wouldn't necessarily want to do this forever, but for a short thing and you need to have free hands, it is beneficial for that regard. Now, one thing personally though, Uppababy, Ergobaby, can we just like make some like backpack straps that I can attach this, right? And then I could just sling this on my back and strap it up across the chest, because that would be amazing. Not only would I be able to take the stroller with me without having to carry it, because anyone who has a toddler knows that their ability to stay in a stroller is limited, and sometimes they just want to walk, and that way you don't have to lug it around with your hands while getting them to where you need to go. All right, so obviously we've taken a look at both of these. I would say that both of them have their great benefits. They are definitely both compact strollers, but they do have full-size features, so it could function potentially even very well as an everyday stroller for you. But what were your thoughts? What did you think? Is there one that you would pick over the other? Let us know in the comments down below.